Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy night.
But tell me, Eddie, is that a rabbit in your pocket, or you're just happy to see me?
Hello, everyone. I just realized I forgot to tweet out that we're going live, so let me just take care of that.
Well, that just ruined the whole thing.
I was busy. And I looked at the tweet that you sent me, and I was like tempted to quote tweet him and said it's spelled, and I corrected him on the spelling of weather. And I thought you were an actor. I was going to say, like, I know you're an actor. You can't spell. You can only read what you're told.
Yeah. Yeah, there's been a lot of these jumps lately.
But for those of you in the chat, the guy I'm talking about, that's Steve Shirt, is the actor who plays Hood Legolas, as I call him, on Rings of Power. And I love the responses. Like, it's like kind of like Slay Queen level of responses.
I saw that actor in another movie.
Mm-hmm.
He played one of the villains. He played exactly the same as he does on Rings of Power.
And he cannot act. I don't know how I know how he was picked. He's a diversity hire, but I'm just saying, I'm looking at him going, it wasn't talent. Because how the fuck are you an actor?
Yeah, one expression.
Yeah, like one tone of voice, no matter what line he's delivering. I'm like, just because you're playing an elf doesn't mean you have to be void of emotion. But he's one of the worst actors on that show.
Yeah, easily. Morfydd Clark is actually not a bad actress. I've seen her in other things, and she's very, very good. But she's got shit to work with.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's no way she can end up not looking bad in that show.
No, well, I forgot to tell you, chat. Before I say hello to the chat and we get into talking about our personal top 10 list from 1991. When I was doing the live stream breakdown review, I forgot to say that there was like a Member Berries line. Well, there were two Member Berries lines essentially in this in episode 4, but the one that probably would have given most everyone a conniption was they had not Galadriel as she was like fighting the orcs at the end. She uttered the line, "Go back to the shadow."
Yeah.
And I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
Well, where would the shadow be in their case?
I'm saying it's like a purely Member Berries line. It's like, you remember Gandalf said that in Fellowship of the Ring?
Yeah.
It's pure. It doesn't make any sense. I was like, really? Fucking really?
Yeah. The Balrogs came from the shadow, basically.
Yes.
The orcs didn't.
Yeah, so it makes sense for Gandalf to say that to the Balrog because the Balrog was born of that.
Yeah.
And they had her say that to like the orc she was fighting because she's buying time so the rest of her group could beat it back to Lindon to warn Gil-galad that orcs are already moving on Eregion. Yet all the Rings of Power have not yet been created.
Yeah. So, retarded move.
Yes. The show's completely fucking retarded. And reminder, chat, and I'll say this again at the end of the stream. I will not be streaming either tomorrow or Friday evening. I can't. I can't do it because of my schedule. So I'll be using tomorrow to watch episode 5 of Rings of Power.
Oh, they've turned Bombadil into Kenobi now.
Yeah, he's all the way in Rune. Even though
not just that. He has trained someone who fell to the dark side, basically.
Yeah, I'm saying it's that too. I'm saying he's like a hermit. Basically, he's a hermit all the way in Rune, like a desert environment, like where he is right now.
Yeah.
Someone basically his former pupil fell to the dark side, so to speak, and now another one has come to learn from him. Not Gandalf needs to learn magic from Bombadil,
who always said he was neutral.
Yes. That's why Bombadil kept to himself in the old forest. He just stayed there.
Yeah.
He stayed there, mind his own business. He didn't it's like he would help whenever help was needed, but that's it. It's like he just stayed out of it.
Yeah, didn't
Oh,
get
and you heard
involved.
Goldberry's voice, which makes sense because there's no river around.
Oh, she was a river maiden.
Yeah, I'm saying it's like there's no river at all. So where the fuck did she come from?
Yeah.
I'm just okay. I already ranted about this, but I'll be watching episode 5 tomorrow. Taking notes, making basically making thumbnails and all that painful shit. But anyway, chat, welcome. We are here. If you're new to watching these streams, we discuss our own personal subjective top 10 films of 1991. This does not necessarily mean the films themselves are the best films. They could be objectively bad, but subjectively to us, we enjoy the hell out of them. So, and I had to narrow my list down from 30 at least to 10.
Yeah, mine was from 20 to 10.
I talked not as much as I thought I did from compared to 1990, but still had to narrow it down from 30 to 10.
Yeah, this one had some clear winners in a way.
Yeah. So, but from the top, I see Trey says, I'm ready for this discussion. Yeah, I have a feeling I know what your number 1 is going to be, Trey. Welcome. Conroy, what is up? Yes, A Kiss for Your Dear Old Granny, which incidentally, that movie did not make my top 10. It's not because I don't like it. It's not because I had to really narrow this list down, and it was really difficult, so I had to leave it off. This one is on my list. Because for me, a lot of it is the film itself is good, the movie itself is good, enjoyable in my opinion. But for me, a lot of it was nostalgia. I think this was the first actual Peter Pan movie I grew up on. Before I watched this, even before I saw the Disney animated movie. So
the novelization is written by Terry Brooks.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, apparently it was hell to make.
Mm-hmm.
It was a nightmare because they kept changing the script. So he was told to constantly alter the book.
Yeah,
but when he worked on the Phantom Menace, it was completely opposite.
Mm-hmm.
I read his bio book, so he had chapters dedicated to both.
Yeah, it's because basically what people don't realize is that the books are typically whenever a novelization of a movie comes out, the book is written off the script.
Yeah.
So basically, they're guys. I noticed that with the prequel movies and the books, because I read the books compared to the movies, and there was things in the books that weren't in the films because the authors got the script before anything was edited out. So you'd have scenes with Padme's family in the books, but did not make it to the movies.
Well, not just that. George Lucas told him to put stuff in there that he didn't have time to put in the movie.
I'm saying so. It's
yeah.
But I've noticed it's people don't realize about when novelizations happen. That's why there's differences between the books and the movie most of the time. It's because certain things get edited out after the book was written.
Yeah, George Lucas had explained the war between the Sith and the Jedi back in the day to him, and said that there was this one Sith that made a rule that there should only be 2. And he didn't have a name for him. So Terry Brooks said, what about Bane? Because he's the Bane of the Jedi, right? And Lucas liked it.
Yep.
But, yeah.
So, yeah, this is my Kick. I dual stream there and on Twitch. And if StreamYards goes the way it's going, I'll most likely have to probably get rid of it or something, because I'm going to cancel my subscription and see if they give me a deal for so many months, because they're upping the price from $25 a month to $45 a month.
Yeah, and you can't have a lower.
No, that's
version.
the lowest. That's the lowest.
And they're doing that when people have less money.
Yes, they're doing. Yeah, I'm saying, did you assholes all fail basic economics?
Yeah, I think this could Well, the problem is, uh, a lot of people will simply just pay anyway
Hmm.
because they don't have, I
Well,
guess, the stubbornness.
yeah. See, the thing is, I have OBS Studio, which conceivably I could use. It's just I would not be able to show anyone else I'm talking to. At least I'd have to figure out how to show anyone else I'm talking to. Um, so I have OBS Studio at least for the time being. Someone else recommended Rumble Studio. I gotta check that out. But yeah, it's basically jumping up $20, which is basically an extra $240 a year.
Yeah, which
So
it's the money, but it's also the principle, isn't it?
yeah. Yes, I don't care. I love The Rocketeer. So
Oh, I loved it. I hadn't watched it. I think it was you and your chat told me to watch it because I one of those I'd missed. It
mhm.
didn't make it to my list though because I don't have nostalgia for it at all.
So well, it's understandable. It made it to my list. Nostalgia
Yeah,
is a factor, but it
it,
is. I
it
mean, you can tell
it's
from the
an
thumbnail, it's on my list. So
it's an awesome movie. I
yeah.
think that one and The Phantom would be a great double feature.
Mm-hmm. It could be. Might at some point do those for like singles at some
Yeah,
point. So they talk to Orange Hats because this month it's comic. Well, it's X-Men related this month, and then next month it's going to be horror movie related, given it's October. So let's see. Make sure I don't miss anyone. Soul Assassin, hello. $2 super chat from Albert just says hello. Good to see you, Albert. Much appreciated. Maza Knoxville, hello. I love that avatar. Yeah, you told me that. Just did the same thing with the Ripley. Stay away from her, you bitch. Let's see. Now this is my Twitch. Thank you. This is my Discord. Whenever I do get back into playing multiplayer games, I use that like a voice channel on that, so people can hear everyone I'm talking to, and then I also do watch parties. So those are pretty fun times. This did not make my list either. Another film tied to Wes Craven did make my list. I don't know how many people have seen it. It's an interesting little film. So, hello, Calix. Good to see you. Now, I gotta think back on my expanded universe knowledge, and I would say the rule of two, no.
well, he got the idea from it.
Yeah, but like the actual it's like the actual rule was his. He was inspired by Revan.
Yeah,
But like Revan didn't come up with the rule of two. It was more or less like this is Revan's philosophy. This is his thinking. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to make the rule like here.
yeah, because Revan wasn't even conceived yet.
Yeah. So I'm saying that. So when I said no, I was meaning like Revan didn't come up with the rule. Bane did, but Revan inspired it. So
yeah.
Yeah, I think you'd enjoy The Phantom. It's like one of those movies where it's like it flew under the radar. Not a lot of people saw it, but it's worth the watch. It is worth the watch.
It's it has a lot of heart, and it's very rewatchable. It's not the best movie ever made or anything. It's like it plays like a single comic book, which it should do. Really.
Albert, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. The Phantom Menace novel is really good. The part where Anakin saves the Tusken Raider is great. It makes him turn that much more heartbreaking. I know I read the books. I don't remember that part. But like I said, there were parts in the books I do remember that were not in the film either because they were edited out, or as Steve pointed out, George Lucas is like, just add stuff in here. So, yeah, you might want to talk to Cream because it's like it's one of those situations where it's like you can't opt for a cheaper version. Like 45 is the cheapest, is the cheaper of the two. There's only two options you have. So yeah. Mike already started with his list. Toy Soldiers. Toy Soldiers nearly made my list, but I had to leave it off. Some Norwegian guys. Is that the one with Timothy Dalton as a villain? Yes. Rocketeer. Had Timothy Dalton. But anyway, yes. So we are. So if I missed anyone, do apologize, but I'm at the end of the chat. So what we do is, as per tradition, Steve rolls a die, and we see who goes first.
Yeah, I roll and lose.
There's always a time where you might win, and I'm picking 11 through 20.
19. We're sure as fuck wasn't this month.
Why can't I somehow get the winning numbers for the lottery?
Don't know. Just let me roll for you.
I don't know, maybe. But anyway, okay. My number 10 is a little horror film that I think it did poorly at the box office. It's not exactly like the best horror film or supernatural film, but I very much enjoyed, especially Julian Sands' performance as the titular character.
And that one.
Yes, Warlock.
It's awesome.
So yes. So basically, Julian Sands, for those who do not know, a warlock is the male equivalent of a witch. All right? It's one of the problems I have with the Harry Potter series, where they have wizards and witches. I'm like, no, it'd either be warlock and witches, or they're all wizards. Pick one. But warlock is the male equivalent of a witch. So basically, females are witches, males are warlocks. And he is transported. I'm not going to go into all the details, but he's transported from the 17th century to modern day. Okay, and he's trying to find the grimoire, or like parts of the grimoire, to like assemble it so that he can take over the world. Yes, rest in peace, Julian Sands. Just bought your ticket today, 70 million tax-free, yes. Right. This made my list also. But anyway, and he curses a bracelet which ages up the main female character, and the witch hunter also makes his way from the 17th century. He's played by Richard E. Grant to modern day, and basically he and the woman are basically tracking down this warlock to stop him before he can take over the world. And that's basically the plot.
Yeah.
It's simple. It's
Trey
simple.
hasn't seen it.
Yeah.
What the hell, Trey?
You need to see it, Trey. It's a simple plot, but like I said, simple doesn't mean bad. Simple is like, in most cases, is good because it knows what it is, doesn't try to pretend to be anything else. It is a movie about a warlock that somehow ends up in the 20th century, and he's trying to take over the world.
Yep.
And
I got him to watch The Wraith the other day, though.
Mm-hmm. I know I've seen parts of that whenever we had a channel called Chiller. It was either Chiller or 8 Monsters HD, but I think it might have been Chiller. I know it was on it because I remember seeing that and like seeing parts of it while it was on, but I did not sit down to watch it because I wasn't able to. Plus, Chiller had commercials, so
it basically had the same fate as Tremors, where it didn't do well in the cinema, but then broke bank at the rental business.
Yeah. So I am going to at some point break down and actually watch it straight through. But like I said, I know I've seen parts of it. It was one of those times where it was on TV, but it was a channel that had commercials. So I was like, if I'm going to watch this, I want to it to be commercial free, and just never got around to it.
It's worth it for the soundtrack alone.
Mm-hmm. But so yes, I think like the best part of Warlock essentially was Julian Sands' performance. Rest in peace. It was tragic what happened to him, and like basically gone too soon. But he pretty much made the role. There were 2 sequels that followed, although I've never seen the sequels, but according to trivia I read, they're not tied at all to the original. Basically, they're kind of like their own standalone type of films.
Kind
To
of,
Warlock.
but it's the same Warlock though in the second
I
one.
know, but I'm saying it's not a continuation of the plot from the first one. So it's like
No.
the only connection is it's like the Warlock played by Julian Sands, but they're kind of like their own standalone storylines within each one.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how good they are. I haven't seen them, but
The second one's not bad.
So
The second one's it's okay. It's not as good as the first one, but
Mhm.
One of the main characters is the guy who plays Gibson and Glover's boss in Lethal Weapon.
Yeah.
Steve Kahan or something. Kanan.
I know what you're talking about. I'd have to see
Yeah.
his name to see how it's pronounced, but
He plays a druid.
yeah, it was either Chiller or Sci-Fi. Like both of them showed commercials. I'm pretty sure it was Chiller because I remember there were commercials in it, and I was like, I'm not sitting down to watch this, like with commercials in it because I haven't seen it. And they always like put the commercials at the worst possible parts, and they edit out stuff when they do.
The Wraith kind of qualifies as a Halloween movie, given that there's a ghost aspect to it.
Well, that's what Wraith means.
Yeah.
Wraith means ghost. So little like basically a little linguistic lesson for you, chat. Basically, ring wraith means ring ghost in Lord of the Rings.
Oh, Sherilyn Fenn is in it, and she did that one and Thrashing in a row. So she was in an 80s cheese binge galore.
God. But that's pretty much all I'm going to say about Warlock. The plot is simple. There's nothing necessarily deep about it, and I think the best part, as I said, is Julian Sands' performance as the Warlock. He's just deliciously evil.
He does something really evil in that.
All I'm saying is I don't want to say what the really evil thing is,
but it's evil.
Yeah, it is evil. But I'm saying and that's the thing. He's not a sympathetic villain. He is truly evil. He wants to take over the world, and he's going to do some pretty damn evil shit to do it. Yeah. So he's not one of those sympathetic villains, which is what I appreciate about these older films. It's you're not supposed to feel sorry for him. He's pretty much the son of Satan. Don't feel sorry for him.
You're supposed to cheer when he dies.
Yes, but he's so good that you can't help but because of the performance.
Well, Richard E. Grant is fantastic in it too.
I know, but I'm saying if Julian Sands had phoned it in, because he's the titular character, and if he had been bad, then wouldn't have mattered necessarily how good Richard E. Grant did, but he did Grant did do very well. He is a very good actor. But if Julian Sands had fallen through as the main character, then he carried it. Warlock.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
a good villain is vital in movies like this.
Yes. So yes, but there, as Steve pointed out, there is a very, very evil thing he does. But I don't want to say what it is. If you're gonna watch it, I want you to see it for yourself and get your reaction.
I was surprised they got away with it.
They did. They did. That's in the movie.
It was almost casually done too.
Yeah. Warlock, it was filmed in 1989, but it did not get an American release because he's I'm going off of American film releases. It did not get a release until 1991. So technically, yes, it was filmed 2 years prior overseas.
I think maybe I had it on one of my top 10 lists earlier.
But it did not get an American release until 1991. So. Another $5 super chat from Albert. Thank you so much. Just pointing out there are some great UHF channels out there that you can get with an HD antenna. You can stream one of them for free with ads. Okay. Pretty cool. Thank you.
That is cool. Really cool, actually. But not relevant for me, though. I'm too far away. But it's cool that it's there.
Yep.
And
it's your turn.
Yeah. Shit, I need to bring up my list. Because I was just yapping.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to do like real fast. I'm gonna have to do like watch parties of scary movies or supernatural films because we're coming up on spooky season. Anyway,
Yeah.
number 10.
Well, I don't have a spooky movie though at number 10, but I do have a damn good action movie. Cheesy as hell, and I just rewatched it. It's called Stone Cold with Brian Bosworth and Lance Henriksen. Brian Bosworth sports the best mullet I've ever seen in a movie. He plays a cop that's infiltrating a biker gang,
Mhm.
and because they've been killing judges and stuff in the area. Lance Henriksen is the leader of the bikers, and holy
Okay.
damn, does he steal the show! He is fantastic in this one.
Nate
Uh,
Henriksen is a really good actor.
oh, he's pretty damn cold and evil in this.
Hmm.
Uh,
And he's like pretty
he's
versatile too because he can play evil and like good characters.
yeah, and I told Trey that he might get a couple of movie recommendations today, and this is one of them. Brian Bosworth's not a good actor, but he's supplemented with Lance Henriksen as a fantastic bad guy in this, so it just works, and it's up there with the best of the Van Damme movies from the time period, in my opinion. There's a hell of a big shootout at the end. Um, Up until then, it's more like he's trying not to get caught while posing as a biker, you know.
Hmm.
But it escalates. You know that guy who in Terminator 2 that gets tossed onto the stove, biker guy.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he's in it, playing a biker again. So he played a biker twice this year.
Okay.
Yeah. And William Forsythe is in it,
Hmm.
and a little tiny role from the blonde from Xena. Xena's friend, the Bart
Yeah, yeah.
lady.
Hmm.
Yeah, she's in it as a hostage at a store. And She's
Okay.
she's like really young. She's wearing braces and stuff. So probably her first acting gig. But
Or close to it.
yeah, and there's a lot of familiar faces in it if you've watched a lot of action movies from the time.
Hmm.
But I'd give this an 8 out of 10 for what it is,
Hmm.
not on the grand scale of every movie, right?
Yeah.
It's not an 8 out of 10 compared to Schindler's List or something.
No, I'm saying that's why I say like at the beginning of the chat, it's like it's like objectively these movies are like like I have had some movies on here where I can say objectively they're like 7 out of 10s at best.
Yeah, but
But I love them.
in this case, if I'm giving it points based on what it's trying to do and within its own genre,
Hmm.
it's an 8 out of 10 and very rewatchable.
Yeah.
But like I said, if you're a fan of Lance Henriksen, this movie's gonna make you even more of a fan.
Yeah.
Because he blows it out of the park.
Another part of the super chat from Albert. Thank you so much. He says you can still stream them. Stieg, Grit, Charge, Laugh, Bounce, Court TV, and many others. The beauty of the interwebs outside of a combination. That's what
Yeah,
Albert.
I'm in half a combination.
Yeah.
Oh, so's you guys now.
Yeah. Right now,
Technically.
but we'll see.
But
But anyway,
yeah.
yeah.
Anyway, Stone Cold. For those of you who just want to watch a fun action movie with Lance Henriksen being great for an hour and a half, there you go.
All right. Yep. And we're on number 9.
Yeah. I guess it's my turn again.
Yes, you start this time.
Yeah. There's that other movie tip for you, Trey. Flight of the Intruder.
I saw that. I know I've seen that, and I almost put it on my list, but I was like, I don't remember this well enough.
Yeah, it's kind of like Top Gun during the Vietnam War, in a way.
Hmm.
It stars. Well, I don't remember the name of the main guy because I haven't seen him in anything else. But
Oh,
Will,
I was like literally looking at it. I clicked on. I can see. Well, let me look it up real fast, because he was in Brad Johnson. He was in, I believe, I've seen him in Rough Riders.
Yeah.
Yes. So, but he's not exactly well known. But like Brad Johnson, yeah. Like I looked at him, like I know that guy.
Yeah, and you have Danny Glover's in it, Willem Dafoe, and Tom Sizemore, and Rosanna Arquette. Basically, it's what's going on is the U.S. Air Force is just doing symbolic strikes in Nam, just to have something to show the people back home, the politicians. So they're basically just bombing villages and little settlements that in gas trucks, what have you. Until the co-pilot of the main character gets shot by a rice farmer at night as their jet is flying past them. He just snipes them with a rifle as they're flying past. It's insane. It's an awesome scene. But then Willem Dafoe joins the group. He's kind of like an ace pilot, I guess. And the main character in him starts to think that we should make a difference, but they're not letting us, right?
Yeah.
So they're like, let's just sneak off and bomb the shit out of a power plant, right? So they can't be ignored.
Yeah.
And Danny Glover plays their boss. He's dealing with their shenanigans.
I know I've seen it, but I did not remember it well enough to include it on my list. So,
plus the base has something Daniel Glover refers to as the Phantom Shitter. Someone in the cast is sneaking out at night and taking a dump in various people's coffee cups and what have you.
Oh God.
Yeah. So Glover's pissed about him. Calls him the Phantom Shitter. Nobody knows who he is. You will find out though during the movie. But it's a fun movie, same as Stone Cold. It's an action movie with jet planes. Plenty of shooting and explosions near the end. And Danny Glover's great in it. Willem Dafoe is great. The other guy is pretty okay, I guess. There's
You're talking about the one like the
it.
actor you don't know. Like he was good in Rough Riders.
Yeah. But it's another one of those where you just put it on, shut off your brain, and have fun. It's not particularly deep, but it does have a message, about that particular war and the people who fought in it. It's kind of it sticks it to the politicians of the time a bit, as it probably should. But it does not in any way bash the soldiers. But yep, watch it for the Phantom Shitter and explosions.
All right. Can't believe that's a thing. Anyway,
Danny Glover is kind of like Louis Gossett Jr. in An Officer and a Gentleman.
Yep, I've never seen that.
He's a bit like that character.
Okay.
But yeah, that's my number 9.
Go ahead, Trey. All right, my number 9.
Trey, you have two good movies now on your list.
My number 9 is more of a family film. And I include it mainly because of nostalgia, but I like the premise itself is incredibly interesting, and it's like, as I said, I've seen this movie before I actually saw the Disney animated film, and that is Hook. Basically, and the premise is, what if Peter Pan did grow up? Hey, Abomination. What if he did grow up? What if he stayed in our world and actually grew up? Basically, so Robin Williams plays Peter, right? But he's forgotten who he really is. He's forgotten who he really is, and then his kids are captured by Hook and taken to Neverland. And so now Peter must, with the help of Tinkerbell, played by Julia Roberts, travel from London to Neverland and try to rescue his kids. And along the way, he has to remember the fact that he actually is Peter Pan. He can fly, he can do all these things, but he's been it's so far forgotten because he's so much older that the Lost Boys don't believe he's Peter until he rediscovers it within himself to not only rescue his children, but to take on Captain Hook, played by Dustin Hoffman. And then Smee is played by the venerable, rest in peace, Bob Hoskins. And I think, really, as much as I love Robin Williams' performance as Peter Pan, I think Dustin Hoffman steals the scenes in whatever scene he's in. So yes, Dustin Hoffman played Hook. And I remember, when I watched it when I was a kid, and thinking, wow, they actually had the cojones to have something happen to one of the Lost Boys. Don't want to say what happens because if you have not seen it, I don't want to give anything away. But it's one of those situations like, oh my god, they actually went there. They actually made it very emotional. So it's so it's not all the bad guys aren't easily defeated or anything like that. Peter, they actually have to fight to rescue his kid.
That was a point and click adventure game based on the movie too.
Yeah,
back in the day.
So, and this is Robin Williams plays the older Peter Pan. Dustin Hoffman plays Captain Hook. Bob Hoskins plays Smee. I think Maggie Smith plays an older. What's that character's name? Wendy. I think it was Maggie Smith. Was it Maggie Smith?
Robin Williams is kind of perfect casting though, because he is Peter Pan-ish, or was.
Yeah. I think it was Maggie. Yeah, I think it was Maggie Smith played an older Wendy. And if you blink, you'll miss it. But Gwyneth Paltrow has a really quick cameo as one of the older versions of Wendy. The scene where Peter Pan is coming back to visit her periodically, and you see she's aging as each time he visits. One of the shots when she turns is Gwyneth Paltrow.
You know what would be hilarious?
Mm-hmm.
If Paltrow played the candlestick in Beauty and the Beast.
Oh my god! So I don't think too many people know that. It's one of those where it's if you're not really paying attention, you might miss her, but she's one of the older versions of Wendy, and then it gets to the point where she's played by Maggie Smith, and she has had her own children, her own children had their own children. She's a grandmother, and Peter Pan kind of develops a crush on one of Wendy's granddaughters, so that's kind of why he stays in our world. Yeah, thank you, Orange Hat. Glenn Close was one of the pirates. So,
I've actually never seen the movie.
It's one of those where it's I think you'll enjoy it, but I think it's if you have not grown up on it. Obviously, the nostalgia. I think it's an enjoyable film, and Dustin Hoffman is really good as Hook. The Lost Boys. So Rufio's the name of one of the Lost Boys. Basically, diversity amongst the Lost Boys, but it wasn't diversity for the sake of diversity or anything. It made sense because Peter Pan is taking these boys, forgotten children, forgotten boys, back to Neverland. So there's going to be diversity amongst them. Yeah. But it wasn't like it is now, where it's we're going to go out of our way to make them diverse because of whatever reason. It made sense, and they even had a fat black kid. So it was there's the actual diversity, but it felt organic amongst the boys. So there's another character there that is I don't want to reveal who he is, because there's another character that's connected to Peter Pan in a way. but I don't want to reveal like what his connection is because it kind of like would spoil something for those who have not seen it.
I'm going to try and get it watched maybe this week.
Yeah. And Julia Roberts plays Tinkerbell. So, yeah, that's Hook. It's basically the premise is like what would happen if Peter Pan grew up, had his own children, and he forgets who he is, and has to rescue his children from Hook. So it's like now he has returned to Neverland. So, but there it is. It's Peter Pan 2, basically, yeah, but it's like, he's grown up. So, where is Peter Pan now? He's decided to stay in our world. Where is he now? So, I know, did that movie ever come out? Or did it, stay in production hell? I can't remember. I mean, I know it's covering the news when that, was being filmed or worked on, but was it ever dropped? Even on Disney Plus? I don't know. But anyway, that's Hook. So. And number 8. Okay, I start this one. This is an animated film, and it's a sequel to. It did come out on Disney Plus. I can't remember. I know I was covering it, but I was like, what? Didn't it even come out? And hey, Mesmer Muses, hello. And my number 8 is an animated film, and it's a sequel to An American Tail. And this is American Tail 5 Goes West. And I'm including it for reasons that I think it's a really good sequel to the first movie. And I grew up watching it when I was a little girl. So nostalgia played a factor, and well as basically I love Bluth animation.
Did you have braids?
No, actually, no. My mom never braided. The only one time I ever had my hair in braids was when I was visiting my great aunt and cousins.
What about pigtails?
Never had pigtails. No, maybe I had pigtails once, but never really. The only thing I really did was put my hair in a ponytail. But anyway, give them the lazy eye. Yes, voiced by Jimmy Stewart. Plays the sheriff, Wyatt Burp, and basically,
that's a good pun name.
Yes, but that's the character's name. They made a pun for his character.
Yeah, 8 out of 10 for that one.
And so basically, the premise is literally in the title, Fievel and his family move west, and obviously the cats are the villains again in this movie, but instead of outright trying to eat the mice, the lead one, basically the smart one of the cast, basically gets the cats basically to pretend to love the mice, basically cats and mice can live together, because his whole plan is to get all the mice together and basically just get them in one go, pretty much. Fievel finds out, but of course he's how do I put this? Expelled, so to speak. So he has to make his way back to warn all the other mice in this town. And to do so, he gets his friend Tiger to help him. Tiger, who's also in the West because he's followed this female cat that Tiger has loves, named Miss Kitty. And the sheriff, the old sheriff in this western town, Wyatt Burp. And it's just those three, and they have to go up against these cats. And in order to do so, Burp has to teach Tiger how to be a dog, essentially. So I'm skipping over some stuff, basically, but that's basically the general premise. That's the general premise, and I had some jokes in there that I don't think would would get away with, especially nowadays. Pretty much, yeah. The spider character was funny. I gotta look it up. I can't remember who voiced the main cat. When I say the main cat, I mean the main bad guy. I gotta look it up. John Cleese. Why did I forget that? John Cleese voices Cat R. Wall. That's the cast name, Caterwall. John Lovitz provides the voice. Like I said, James Stewart, Dom DeLuise. So, and I think in terms of comedy, it's like the first one was very serious. It's like a lot more serious, like, very serious for a children's cartoon. And this one, basically, it's like, you know what, we're going to kind of like steer away from the seriousness of the first one and kind of add a bit more lightheartedness to the plot. And I think it like really works for like what the story is. Yeah. And so basically, like, tonally, it's different because it's like it's more lighthearted. But John Cleese is like his voice is like perfect for Cat R. Wall, basically. And who voices Miss Kitty? Amy Irving voices Miss Kitty. Yeah, and you have like the returning voices from the first one for the Moskowitz family. Yeah, so like if you have not seen it or you don't remember it that well, I'd say like give it another watch. I think it's a very good sequel to the first one. They're tonally different, so it all depends on which like tone you prefer. Do you prefer the seriousness of the first one, or do you prefer like the more lightheartedness of the second one? But I think both of them work, in my opinion. But yeah, so I think it's worth the watch. An American Tail, Fievel Goes West.
Never seen any of them.
I think you should watch those two. I know there are other Fievel movies made after the second one, but I think just stop at the second one, like just the first two.
Yeah, the thing is, that was probably when I had stopped watching cartoons for the most part, or animated movies, with some exceptions. One of them being on the list today. But heck, I'll watch it if it's good.
I like it. Like I said, it's like I grew up on it, and I still watch animated films to this day.
Yeah.
But I think it's, again, it's worth. Like I said, tonally, it's different from the first one. Like the first one has a more serious tone to it, as compared to the sequel. So
okay, maybe I'll do I'll do a double feature one evening.
Yeah. So, and that's my number 8, An American Tail, Fievel Goes West.
Yeah. It's my turn?
Yes.
My number 8 is Double Impact with Van Damme and Van Damme. He plays twins in it. They got separated at birth when a conspiracy happened, which we find out later, where the parents got killed. And Jeffrey Lewis plays a friend of the family, I think, who has helped raise one of them. So they kind of got split like Han and Leia. No, sorry, Luke and Leia in a way. One of them ends up being like a good guy, martial arts trainer, and blah, blah, blah. The other one is a bit of a criminal in Hong Kong. And then they team up to avenge the death of their parents. The villain has Bolo Young as a henchman. So he's a threat. That's the same villain as in Bloodsport. And that jacked blonde lady that was in quite a bit at the time. So they actually had a woman that looks like she could kick ass. Unlike today, where you have to be like 5 feet tall and, Latina, and then you can beat up anyone, right?
Yep.
Straightforward, kind of dumb plot. Jeffrey Lewis is always great in most stuff he's in. Van Damme is Van Damme,
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to think of Van Damme characters as the characters rather than you'll think it's Van Damme, won't you?
Yeah.
Right? Because I don't remember what most of his characters were named. Yeah,
I just like call his character Van Damme.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and he fights himself in it. with some camera trickery, which actually works. The twin stuff works in it. It's well done. But don't expect a masterpiece. Just expect an early '90s action movie with Van Damme, and it's actually one of his better ones. Um, I think objectively, it's a 7 out of 10.
Yeah.
Definitely rewatchable. Uh, most action movies that come out today, they don't have the rewatchability, do they?
Not really. Again, I don't actually don't watch a lot of action movies, especially not like recent action movies, because it's like I feel like this is not necessarily a common thing, but like they make the villains too sympathetic.
Yeah. Just have a big asshole
Mm-hmm.
that's a threat to the hero, and have the hero kill like a ton of people to get to him. It's not that hard.
Yeah. Bullet Train was good. I wouldn't necessarily call Bullet Train an action movie, but it had action in it. But Bullet Train was really good. That's why I kind of appreciated Mel Gibson's performance as the bad guy in the third Expendables, because he's like, I'm a bad guy. I'm gonna act like a bad guy. There's nothing sympathetic about me.
Yeah.
And it ended up having to be a fight between him and Barney.
Yeah, it's the same, with the Stone Cold, as I mentioned earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Lance Henriksen does not have anything sympathetic about him. You simply want him to die all through the movie.
Mm-hmm. So it's like, that's why like when villains were actually villains, you can like them, but you're not supposed to sympathize with them. You're supposed to want the hero to win.
Yeah.
Or the good guys or whatever to win. You're supposed to want that.
Yeah. And for people out there that like retro action movies that haven't seen this one, this is kind of like on a, from the time period, it's kind of a must watch.
Mm-hmm. I've not seen Extraction. I've seen Sisu. I liked Sisu. I enjoyed Beekeeper a lot, and I really liked Bullet Train.
Beekeeper was good.
Yeah. I've not seen Extraction. But that's it. I'm saying it's like that I don't watch action movies. It's just like the good ones are few and far between nowadays. So where it's like you can as you said, of rewatchability.
Yeah. Oh, and in this movie, you have that big jacked lady.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what? She looks like she can kick Van Damme's ass. It's actually that the henchmen are believable in this one.
Yeah. Yeah. So. Sorry, chats. My dog got me up at like 3 a.m. this morning.
Yeah. Anyway, double impact's my number 8.
Okay. And we're on number 7 now.
Yep. Number 7, I have a movie called Wedlock, which I think was a straight to VHS movie with Rutger Hauer, Mimi Rogers, James Remar, and Joan Chen. Rutger Hauer, James Remar, and Joan Chen rob a jewelry store. They steal diamonds at the beginning. They screw up, but they get away, and Hauer has the diamonds. And when he meets up with them again, they betray him and shoot him, leave him for dead. And it turns out he didn't have the diamonds with him. So they fucked up.
Yeah.
He gets sent to jail. And it's a new kind of type of jail that they've come up with, where you get a collar around your neck, and there's no walls in the jail. So the thing is, you have something called a wedlock partner. Someone else in the prison has a necklace coded to yours. So if you run away, and if you get separated by a certain distance, both collars will explode, blowing the heads off, you and your wedlock partner, which you don't know who is. Right? So the prisoners become the guards because of paranoia. However, James Remar has teamed up with the warden, so they're trying to break Rutger Hauer when he's in jail to get him to reveal where the diamonds are. Mimi Rogers is in jail with him, and she's the wedlock partner. and because it's a unisex prison, so think Starship Troopers shower,
Okay.
and she figures out that Howard is her wedlock partner, and they run away together. Um, this is not a gritty movie at all. It sounds gritty. It's not. It's almost family friendly because there's a lot of humor in it. Howard plays basically a big pussy.
Okay.
He has superb chemistry with Mimi Rogers. The two of them together just work. It's great. James Remar is good as the villain. Um, it has some action in it, but it's more like a survival thriller. That they get into situations where they get separated, so you get tension from that because the necklace starts beeping.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like Mimi Rogers gets thrown out of a wedding party, and it takes place at the top of a skyscraper, and she gets put in the elevator. So Howard needs to get down before she gets too far away, right? So that's where the tension stuff really comes from. But I'd give this an 8. It's one of those under the radar movies. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it.
Mm-hmm.
The acting is great, and like I said, Mimi Rogers and Howard has superb chemistry. The two of them really carry the movie.
That's good. I'm gonna have to try to find it because, like you said, if it went straight to DVD or VHS, I did not hear about it.
Yeah, that's how I saw it. A friend of mine had it, so I used to borrow it from him. But yeah, I think Trey reviewed it, and I think he liked it.
Real fast, so I can cover these. Another $5
Oh.
super chat from Albert is in Lionheart. His character name is Lion, and the guy calls him the Lionheart because nobody would want to fight a guy named Lion. Another $2 one from him just says, "You had me at Mimi Rogers in the shower."
You don't see her in the shower. I think you see the other ones, if I remember correctly. But she's not the shy type, is she?
I don't remember her being shy.
No, but she's also a very underrated actress. I've never seen her do a bad job at all. She's
Mhm.
great as the mom in Ginger Snaps.
Oh yeah,
Have you seen? Yeah.
yeah. I've seen like all 3 of the Ginger Stuff movies, and it's like, hot take. I actually, except for like the one part I don't like in the first movie. I like the first movie, and I like the third movie better than the direct sequel, like the second one, because the third one is when they go back in time.
Yeah. I liked all of them.
So, yeah.
Anyway,
Leon.
Wedlock.
Leon.
Yeah. Leon.
My number 7 is a comedy starring Billy Crystal, Jack Palance, Daniel Stern, Bruno Kirby,
I knew that one would be on your list.
and I mean, like, who doesn't love Jack Palance? Jack Palance is actually like really, like, from what I heard, like really nice in real life, but he plays gruff characters, villain characters, like, just so fucking superbly well. City Slickers, basically,
Jack,
like,
Jack Palance looks evil.
oh, yeah, I'm saying, but like he's generally cast as like bad characters,
Yeah.
and he plays them superbly well, but he's actually really nice in real life.
Yeah. Most people who play villains are nice. I
And
noticed.
yeah, and so basically, it's like basically Billy Crystal, Daniel Stern, and Bruno Kirby. Those actors. Rest in peace, Bruno Kirby. He actually died young.
He looks like Lethal.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. He looks like Lethal's uncle or something.
And they're like 3 friends, and like each year they get together and they go, like, they go on these trips. And Billy Crystal's character is he's kind of getting, like, he's kind of getting to a point where he's like short of a midlife crisis. He feels aimless. He doesn't like the job he has, and he's kind of over the trips that they're doing. Daniel Stern is also he's in a loveless marriage. His wife is a shrew. Stern like character works for his wife's father, so he works for his father-in-law in a supermarket, and the father-in-law treats him like shit too, which makes Stern's character have an affair with a 20-year-old employee there, and he impregnates her. And Bruno Kirby's character, he's married to a much younger woman, but he's just like, still at the point where he doesn't really want to fully settle down, and it gets to a point where it's like Crystal's wife's, like his character's wife, like just after his friends sign him up for a cattle drive, she forces him to go. Like you need to get out of this funk you're in. You need to find yourself. Go on this cattle drive. And actually, I think his son is played by a young Jake Gyllenhaal. So Jake Gyllenhaal is in this movie, as his son. But basically, they go on this cattle drive, and Jack Palance, he's in charge of running the cattle drive along with the ranch hands. And there's other people in this group who have signed up for to go on the cattle drive, and Palance plays a character called Curly, who kind of basically in a way helps Billy Crystal's character find himself basically on this, in a way he almost comes to I don't want to necessarily say a father figure, but close to it, like a kind of a mentor to Billy Crystal's character. And it's one of those where it's you have the arc of each of these characters as they kind of come to terms. Bruno Kirby, he realizes he needs to settle down, sort of situation. Stern, what he needs to do in his life. Billy, Crystal's character, what he needs to do in his life. They learns things about themselves, learn things about the other people that are with them, and it's one of those where it's it's a comedy, but it also has a lot of heart to it. So, and there is a sequel where Palance comes back and plays another character of sorts. I don't want to say anything, because there is a sequel to City Slickers. I know I've seen the sequel. I don't remember it too well, but the first one, I think if you have not seen it, or if you've not seen it in a while, it's worth a watch.
I haven't seen it since the 90s. I don't remember anything about it.
Yeah.
Or it could be I haven't seen it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, either way, I'd say watch it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember the sequel being all right, but not really worth. I would say not worth watching. Just to stay with the first movie. The first movie wraps up perfectly. That it really did not need the sequel, in my opinion. But yeah, City Slickers. It's basically what they call the guys from the city. It's kind of like a, how do I put this? It's not a mean term, but it's not exactly a nice term to in describing someone.
It's like the opposite of a country folk.
Yeah, basically a city slicker. That's hence the title. So I think it's worth the watch. So City Slickers is my number 7. Gotta take a drink. And we're on number 6.
Yeah, it's your turn.
Yep, my number 6 is another comedy. And I just had to include this because I love how it parodies certain films. It kind of almost beautifully parodies Top Gun.
Oh, that one.
Uh-huh.
I watched that one in the cinema, I think.
Yep. And that is Hot Shots. Basically, Hot Shots, and even Hot Shots Part 2, is pretty much how you do a proper parody.
Yeah.
It's how you do a proper parody. I don't know what it is about movies today that they can't seem to fucking figure that out. But both are how you take a genre of films, all right, in this case action movies, and turn it into satire of sorts.
They actually had quite a few of these in that time period.
Yeah.
Because yeah, the Naked Gun ones, and there was one called Loaded Weapon
Yeah.
with Samuel Jackson and Emilio Estevez parodying Lethal Weapon,
Mm-hmm.
which I
There's
also
so many
watched
like
in the cinema.
there's so many good movies where it's like how the one character's father met his end.
Yeah,
It doesn't sound like it should be funny, but it's funny.
yeah, they even fucking ate him.
Yeah, so I'm like,
They,
it's one of the situations where like it shouldn't be funny, but like it's like, and then you see his like head mount. I don't want to like ruin anything basically, but it's basically it took Top Gun and then it took elements of other action movies, and like
yeah,
just like made the plot. Charlie Sheen is in it. Carrie Elwes. Is that how you pronounce his last name? Elwes.
yeah,
Is
yeah,
in
I think
it.
so.
What's her name? I can't remember
He
what her
he
name
is
is.
damn good in it.
Valerie something. I've only ever seen this like the main actress in like one other movie.
Oh, she's in Escape from L.A.
Yeah, I know. But she's in like I think she was also in Pee Wee's Big Top Pee Wee.
Yeah, she was in a lot of stuff for
And then
4 or
she kind of
5
disappeared.
years.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and then she
she.
kind of
I think she
fell off
moved
the
back to
radar.
Italy.
Yeah. But she's in it.
Valerie Golino.
Yeah, something like that. Galino.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Yeah. She plays basically the female, basically the female lead romantic interest in the movie. Lloyd Bridges is just like perfectly cast. It's like in this he's John Cryer, Kevin Dunn, Ryan Stiles is in it. For those who watch Whose Lines It Anyway. But yeah, and Top Gun is basically the Maverick character, essentially, and I love that. It's still when like Saddam Hussein was a threat, but they turn it into comedy gold with the names they give the Iraqi pilots, like Baba Ganoush, and things like that.
Yeah, shish kebab.
Yeah, like it's just like they turn it into comedy gold with that. For those who don't know, Baba Ganoush is a dip made from eggplant and other ingredients, basically, but the primary ingredient is eggplant in it. Yeah, like Top Gun and Rambo, especially for the second one. Top Gun is primarily the first one, Rambo for the second one. But there's like little elements of other action movies sprinkled in. But Top Gun is primarily like the main inspiration for the first Hot Shots movie.
Loaded Weapon has a cool cameo in it. You know, in Lethal Weapon, when they shoot up Riggs's home on the beach, the villains shoot up Emilio Estevez's home, but they shoot up the wrong one, and you see like John McClane coming out of it, all
right.
bloody and with no shoes on, and yelling like, "What the fuck's going on?"
Yep. Yeah, she's basically like what the Top Gun love interest was. She's like that in Hot Shots, so she plays that that type of character.
Yeah.
Another $5 super chat. Thank you so much. Hello, my name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die. Yes.
Which is a movie I haven't seen.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen
Princess
bits
Bride?
of it.
You haven't seen Princess Bride? Hey, Zachariah.
No, back when I was a kid, I thought it was a girly movie.
Not really.
And I was watching Van Damme, so I only watched bits of it,
Mm-hmm.
and I never got around to watching the whole thing. So
I would not say it's a girly movie, and this is coming from like me as a woman. I would not say it's a girly movie. It's a love story, but I wouldn't call it necessarily a girly movie because you have Andre the Giant, Mandy Patinkin.
Yeah, but keep in mind I was 12 and probably retarded. 12-year-old boys are retarded.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to deny that.
Yeah, it's like, the kid thought like, it's like the girly book is called The Princess Bride, and even Trey's saying it's pretty masculine.
Yeah. Sure, it is.
So you do need to give it a watch. Like one of these days, you need to sit down and watch The Princess Bride.
Yeah.
Does it have a Christopher Guest in it as a six-fingered man?
Well,
Chris Sarandon is the villain.
if you think about it, right? And this is what I think is good about these streams is I now have 4 movies on my list that I haven't seen before
Mm-hmm.
that are guaranteed non-woke. They're guaranteed fun,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and that's new content. Just because something new, that it doesn't mean you have to watch it. If you watch something older that you never seen before, that's just as new content, isn't it?
Yep. Yeah, that is Hot Shots. My number 6. Like I said, it's like how to do a proper parody.
Yeah, it's a perfect parody.
Mm-hmm. So, but we're on number. Did you do your number 6?
No, I did 8 and 7, so I'm supposed to do 6 and 5, I think.
Yeah. Like you do your 6 and then like start with number 5.
Yeah, I haven't done my 6 yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, my number 6 is kind of a family comedy. Doc Hollywood with Michael J. Fox.
It almost made my list. I had it on like the list of all the movies I'd seen. And I was like, but yeah, Doc Hollywood. Yeah, I know I've seen that.
It's I'd say it's a feel-good comedy. Michael J. Fox lives in Washington D.C. and he gets a job in Beverly Hills, I think. So he's driving across the country.
Mm-hmm.
Ends up in, I think it's South Carolina, where he almost hits a cow and veers off the road and smashes a fence. The judge in town owns the fence, gives him community service. Then Michael J. Fox gets pissed, and again, he gets more community service. So he has to work as I think it's as a vet in town, and a doctor. They just combine because he has to deliver calves or whatever. But it's obvious that they're trying to get him to stay, to make him like the town, because the doctor in town is very unlikable, and he's going to retire soon. So they need a replacement. So they're kind of manipulating him and showing him what's good about the town. And then he hits on this lady, and kind of like a love story starts to happen. But another guy wants her too, and that's Woody Harrelson. So a little bit of
It's like a love triangle, essentially.
A little bit of a love triangle, but it never gets nasty,
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, this is a feel good comedy. Michael J. Fox is great. David Ogden Stiers plays the mayor, who's also the judge. He's always good, actually. And someone else was in there. That was what's her name? Shit, I noted it. I wrote it down. She plays the daughter. Bridget Fonda is in it. That's the daughter of the mayor. But there's nothing too much to say about this. It's if you like movies that take place in small towns and the people are a bit quirky, and it's no deaths or action or anything, and family comedy. I think I'd call it.
Yeah, well, I don't know if I say necessarily say family comedy, but like a lighthearted comedy.
Yeah, if you have a bad day, movies like this will cheer you up, I think.
Mm-hmm. So, all right. Like I said, I know I've seen it, and I was like, if I didn't quite remember it well enough to put it on my list, but I was like, I could picture some scenes. So I'm like,
Yeah. Actually has nudity in it.
yes,
Does
the
it-
time when
does
they showed that, and that was still a PG-13 rating, or close
Yeah,
to it.
it's lady swimming in the river, I think it was.
I know, but I'm saying it's like movies like Stripes, where it's like full on like nudity in the shower scene, and I think the movie's like just still PG-13.
Oh yeah,
Oh.
80s, early 80s comedies. That's they went all in.
Yeah.
They didn't care.
Nope, they did not care at all. But anyway, now we're on number 5.
Yeah, switching genre completely almost. My number 5 is The Doors. It's a movie about Jim Morrison, starring Val Kilmer. It's got Carl McLaughlin playing the organ player in the band. It's got Kevin Dillon in it. Michael Wincott, I think, plays their producer. It's made by Oliver Stone. The band who are actually in the movie, they have little cameos, the surviving members.
Mhm.
They did not like what Oliver Stone did in terms of showing how the band had done drugs, because they had only done it once. They did like acid in the Nevada desert or something to kind of open their minds
Mhm.
to become more artistic. That's it. They only did it once. Jim Morrison, who is portrayed as a junkie almost in this one, is he was an alcoholic. I mean, a third of their songs is about whiskey. So go figure. But Val Kilmer nailed it. And the band members said when he was singing, because Val Kilmer actually did the singing in it, they couldn't tell that it wasn't Jim Morrison singing. And they would know, right?
Oh yeah.
So they said it was like seeing a ghost, and he even looks like him. You know, so they had some classical pictures of Jim Morrison in it, but they had the photographer take those pictures of Val Kilmer right in the movie.
Mhm.
It's almost identical. It's eerie.
Yeah.
And Val Kilmer gives like an 11 out of 10 performance in this. Meg Ryan's in it as well. But the fact that he actually sings the songs himself and does them identically, and it's so close that the band members can't even tell the difference. That's off the charts, isn't it?
Yeah. I remember remember seeing a picture of like Val Kilmer as Morrison, and I almost thought it was Morrison when I looked at it initially.
Yeah, it's perfect casting, but it wouldn't have worked if he couldn't do the singing.
No. Like, but I remember it was like that was like my initial like introduction to the movie was like seeing the poster, and it was one of those like double takes.
Yeah, and I'm a huge fan of the band. I had all the CDs and stuff. They didn't do that many. I think it was 5 or 7 that they did. And then Morrison died. And there's like a bit of an Elvis thing with him about his death. That they think he got killed. A lot of people think so. Because he was found dead in a bathtub in Paris with a heroin overdose, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, you have to inject heroin, right?
Yeah.
And Jim Morrison had a phobia for needles. If you have a phobia for needles, you're not going to inject heroin.
It still could have been. I'm not trying to deny. I can see where the people would think it was murder. It could have, but it still could have been an accidental death if the person who was doing it was a novice themselves.
He was by himself.
So, well, he was found by himself.
Yeah.
Well, they don't know if someone was. This is a time when basically before like good crime scene investigation. So for all it's like he had someone do it, and that person panicked and ran.
Yeah, well, that's entirely possible. He had pissed off the FBI though.
So yeah, I'm just saying, like, it's like, so it's like, but I could see where they're coming from. I could see where they're coming from, where it's like like someone could have used that as a means of getting close to him to kill him that way. So who
Yeah.
knows?
But Val Kilmer's probably going to be known for Doc Holliday,
Oh,
right?
easily Eat or Iceman from
But
Top
yeah,
Gun.
but he does his performance in this one is just as good as the Doc Holliday one
Hmm. Yeah,
in terms of skill. Probably even more because of the singing, because
agreed.
that's a whole new element added to it, isn't it?
Yes.
But awesome movie, even though it's inaccurate with the drug use. Uh, like I said, that the band was pissed at Oliver Stone for that, and Oliver Stone tended to put like a lot of drug use into things. So
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Oliver Stone. I mean, he does make good films. I'm just not a fan of him as personally. But yeah, he does
no,
like to add a lot of drug use to his
yeah,
movies.
and if you're doing a biopic, you shouldn't do that if it's not true.
No, that's why part of the reason why I I'm not a fan of Oliver Stone, because he, like, entertainment wise, the biopics are good, but he never really seemed to care about accuracy that much.
No, I mean even Conan the Barbarian, right?
Hmm.
Which he was I think he was the producer on it, or because it was directed by John Milius, but
Yeah.
Oliver Stone wrote it, and it's a mix mash of everything. I mean, the villain played by James Earl Jones is a King Cole villain. It's not even a Conan villain, and
Yeah.
the love interest is a combination of two characters. So it's kind of and Conan growing up as a slave. That's like 100% against the character because he would not let himself be enslaved ever.
No.
So you're right about him not giving a damn about accuracy.
So yeah.
But anyway, The Doors.
Yep.
That's my number 5.
Okay. My number 5 is, well, they're creepy and they're kooky, mysterious and spooky. So, but the Addams Family film from 1991 with Raul Julia as Gomez Adams and Angelica Houston as Morticia Adams, with a young Christina Ricci as Wednesday Adams, Christopher Lloyd as Fester, and so forth. But basically, the premise is, well, it's the Addams Family, right?
No, perfect casting, really.
Yeah.
And would you agree that this counts as a Halloween movie?
I would say, yeah. Both, I think, count as a Halloween movie, but definitely the first one.
Because it doesn't have to be pure horror during Halloween. It
just like it has to have that atmosphere, and like Addams Family perfectly encapsulates that atmosphere because of it's like how they live their lives, and they live their lives as if like that's normal, where everyone else is like at them going like you're incredibly strange, and like basically the overarching premise in the movie is that like Gomez Adams is incredibly wealthy, and there's a way to get to wherever the gold is kept, but he won't let anyone else see how to get there. But the man they have hired as his accountant or attorney, whatever you want to call him, basically sees what looks to be someone who could like pass as Uncle Fester, and that's Christopher Lloyd, who like believes he's the son of this like woman who is also a client of this like shyster type character. And he's like, it's like we use him to kind of infiltrate into the Addams Family clan, and Gomez will show him where the gold is, like how to get to the gold, and then we basically just like rob them blind, essentially. And well, it's like not going into details. I don't want to reveal anything, but basically, Chris, can't remember what name he was going off as, because it's like they don't call him Fester. Like he's like because he believes he's the son of this woman. I can't remember what his name is basically, but he grows to become fond of the Addams Family to the point where he turns, basically against the other two. Yeah, Raul Julia basically raised the bar as Gomez Adams.
I saw him in a movie the other day, Tequila Sunrise, where he plays a mobster. I mean, the guy's versatile as hell.
Yes, and he also died pretty damn young.
Yeah, he died right after a Street Fighter.
Yeah, because it was like kind of a shock when it happened. Because I was like he's not that
Well,
old.
you know, the weird thing is because he knew it was probably his final role,
Mm-hmm.
so he gave it 500%, right?
Mm-hmm.
And nobody else does because Van Damme was coked out of his mind during that movie. And the only one who's trying is Raul Julia, who gives it 500%, and everyone else gives it 10%.
Yeah.
So it's really off. But if you isolate it, you see how great it is. But
Mm-hmm.
it's just so off, though, when because it comes off as over the top, right?
Yeah. It does come off as over the top, but like you said, everyone else is pretty much phoning their performances in. So it's going to look like he's overdoing it when he's actually the only one trying.
Yeah.
So I think for me it was a Tuesday. But yeah, but like you said, like he set the bar as Gomez Adams. And so when that Wednesday show was released, and yeah, I know the actor they hired to play Gomez in the Wednesday show is more accurate to the cartoon. When I say cartoon, I mean like the strip, basically, which is what the Adams Family is based on. He's so fucking unappealing to look at. I'm like, come on, like I don't care if he's accurate. Like, you know, in this instance, I'm like, accuracy be damned in terms of looks. Please give me something that I can at least look at. I cannot look at that actor. Like he is like, there's something about him that just I don't know, just ugh. And I'm like, I'm supposed to believe that he caught someone that looks like Catherine Zeta-Jones. Come on. So anyway, I had to include Adam's Family because it's as much as I enjoyed like the original show. I think like when the movie came out, like that's the kind of like for me the definitive Adam's Family portrayal. So Adam's Family is my number 5.
Yeah, it's fun, rock solid, and another movie for the family, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. So we are on number 4.
Yeah, your turn.
So, I said like my film because like someone mentioned Freddy's Dead up earlier, and I was like, well, I have another more Wes Craven film, which is more of a comedy horror that I don't think too many people have seen, from 1991, and that's The People Under the Stairs, which is actually inspired by a real life event in a sense. But basically, this stars Everett McGill, very versatile actor, underrated as hell. But he stars in it. Ving Rhames stars in it, and basically the premise is like this kid. His mom is sick, and he needs money for like hospital bills, and he's approached by these two guys. They're like, hey, like, you know, if you help us rob our landlords, because like we're hearing that they have like a stash that we can steal like from them, because what the landlords do is they basically purchase these like buildings like for like basically to rent for cheap, and then drive up the cost so basically they can evict those who are already living there and then sell them basically for gentrification purposes, basically. So like kind of touching on the gentrification of cities.
I actually have that movie.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't watched it yet, but I got a hold of it very recently.
Like I said, it's more of a comedy horror, so it's not like a straight horror. It's not like a straight comedy. But basically, this kid is recruited to, like to help them rob the place, and they basically in doing so, they come like into this like horrible revelation on what is actually going on with their landlords. And I don't want to say anything, but like I said, it's based on an actual event. It's like it's taking like an actual real life event and then like taking like that what happened and turning it into a film. So basically, Wes Craven, in a sense, like did imitate imitate life with this art in this movie. Yeah, without being preachy, basically, without being preachy, but like they kind of touched on what was going on within the inner cities, but it wasn't like overtly social commentary or anything like that. Because Ving Rhames plays one of the burglars. So he plays kind of like one of the guys that you're not really supposed to like, but like at the same time, you're not supposed to like the landlords either. So I'd say it's worth a watch. It's basically worth a watch. It's worth a watch, and it's like one of those it's like kind of like I would say I don't necessarily want to call it a gem from Wes Craven, but one of those I think that not too many people like realize like it's one of his films. Like they kind of overlook it because he's most known for like Nightmare on Elm Street, Scream, things like that. They don't think about the people under the stairs. So
No,
you
it's on my list.
might enjoy it for what it is. Like it's not exactly I would say like a stellar film, but it's like it has like that Wes Craven touch to it.
As long as I'm not being preached to, and
Oh, you're not being preached. It's not
Yeah.
like there's no like preaching. Like it's like I said, it does touch on what's happening in inner cities, but it's not to the point where it's like you're beaten over the head with preachiness or social commentary. It is basically it's like one of those where this is happening right now, so I'm going to use this as a premise, like a plot point, basically. Nothing to do with any preaching.
Yeah. That's actually all I want from my entertainment. I don't want, DEI casting that's, obviously just window dressing.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be preached at. If there's a political theme in the story, fine. But I don't want to be spoon fed.
Yeah, you're not like I said, it's like more like a political theme because it touched on like what was happening in certain areas of cities.
Yeah.
But it's more like like it's more or less like I said, a plot point.
Yeah.
Without being preachy.
Yeah, because if stuff actually is happening in certain parts of the city, then fine.
Yeah.
It should be in the story.
Yeah.
But instead of just going, yeah, this is a sci-fi fantasy movie, and we're gonna put what's happening in this city in the USA today in this movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. So, like I said, but yeah, that's my number 4, The People Under the Stairs. So give it a check if you have not seen it. And we're on number 3.
Yep, your turn.
No, you need to do your number 4. Sorry, and then you do number 3.
Oh yeah, okay. My number 4 is another one I got to see in the cinema. I think I saw it in the cinema. I'm pretty sure. It's Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
That almost made my list, and I did see it in cinemas. So
Yeah, great fun.
Mhm.
Doesn't follow the source material that well, but it does it well enough.
No, but Alan Rickman, I believe, doesn't he play the Sheriff of Nottingham?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so he's good.
Oh hell yes. Everyone's good except Kevin Costner, who tries to do an English accent, and
It doesn't work.
No, it really doesn't work. Someone should have stopped him.
Yes.
But the movie is still great fun.
Yeah.
It has some really cool, archery, shots in it.
Mm-hmm.
So the action's good, and sword fighting is very classic swashbucklery.
Mm-hmm.
Alan Rickman he's evil, but he's also funny. He's funny evil.
Yeah.
The lady from The Abyss is in it. She plays Maid Marian. Christian Slater's in it, playing his Robin Hood's brother, which definitely wasn't a thing. But Sean Connery shows up at the end in I guess you'd call it almost a cameo. He shows up and dishes out a couple
Yeah.
of lines.
Because he plays like Richard, King Richard.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Brian Blessed plays the Robin Hood's dad who gets killed at the beginning. That's an awesome actor.
Yeah.
Morgan Freeman is awesome in it as he plays a Moor.
Which is historically accurate. Would be historically accurate.
Yeah. The only bad thing about this movie is Costner's accent.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Everything else is soundtrack is good. The locations, Sherwood Forest is done really well, and they have to because that's it's like Gotham, right? It's a character.
Mm-hmm.
And Michael Wincott as Guy of Gisborne, also a very underrated actor. So I'd give this like a 7 or an 8. Really, very rewatchable. And yeah, Costner was on a roll for a while.
Yeah, like he was pretty much the.
He was the shit in
Yeah.
the 90s.
But I'm going to take a break real fast, Chad, to take my dog out and kind of get her settled on my bed. So I'll be right back, and I'll be getting into my number 3 shortly.
No, this was my number 4.
Oh, yeah. So we'll be getting into our number 3. Sorry, I'll be like when I get back. So just give me a little bit. Steve can entertain you guys, and I'll be right back.
Yeah. I'm just going to mute myself and play Skyrim. No. I'll take just ask some funny questions in the chat. We'll just fool around until Mara gets back. Don't get her demonetized though. Let's see. Gravy D has never seen Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. You know what? Get it watched. I think you'll like it. Yeah, Trey enjoyed the Wraith. Everyone enjoys the Wraith. Who had the best cans in 91? 91? Anna Nicole Smith? Maybe? Was she around then? I don't know. Let's see. What's the funniest way Mara's characters died in D&D? She hasn't. Believe it or not, they have not died. It's been so close. But I think the funniest one was she got swallowed by a giant toad. And after a while, she has had to roll saving throws because there was no air inside the toad. And she was like rolling saving throws to avoid death every round. And Teresa and Nina were supposed to cut open the toad and take her out. Teresa rolled a 1 and dropped her sword in the sewer. And Nina spent her time trying to sit the toad up so they could cut it open. Meanwhile, Mara was dying from lack of air. And they finally managed to cut her out, but she was like 1 round away from dying. That was in the Conan game. She blamed me for it, oddly enough. Let's see. Trey Courtney remembers the Bryan Adams song from The Prince of Thieves. I made out with a girl to that one at a school party thing when I was a kid. So take that. Better British accent, Costner or Dick Van Dyke. I haven't heard Dick Van Dyke speak English. But Dick Van Dyke is an international treasure, I'd say, because everyone likes him. Let's see. Trey Courtney says, I've seen it once. Okay. Well, watch it again then. Orange Hat says he likes the extended edition of Prince of Thieves. Usually, as a rule, extended versions tend to be better. Let's see. Did she antagonize the toad? No, uh, they basically, well, they were there to kill it because it was eating people in the sewer, but they didn't know what kind of beastie it was. So they went down into its lair and it attacked. So I guess 50-50. Oh yeah, hell yes, Trey. Besides the Rob Zombie extended editions, he did. You know what? I didn't like Halloween Ends one bit, but I think I actually like it more than the two Rob Zombie Halloween movies. The more I think about it, because it was just, I don't know. Yeah, I think that was is Halloween Uncut. I think that was the last time I watched that one. I watched the uncut version. It was almost like just he was making like some dirty torture pornish thing, and by dirty I mean actually physically dirty. There's like mud and shit everywhere. Um, well, it's okay to disagree, Trey. Yeah, he added a grape scene. Like, why? You know, it, shock value just for the sake of it isn't. It is pointless. The only point is to shock someone for a second or two, right? So it's unnecessary, which Trey also says. So I guess we're on the same page. It doesn't even fit the character. Uh, Mike Hill likes the first Rob Zombie Halloween movie. That's fair. You're allowed to.
Hello.
Yeah, I've been
I'm not.
entertaining the chat. I've been completely professional. Haven't insulted
I,
one or anything.
no. I'm not a fan of the Rob Zombie Halloween film.
I hate them. I wanted to like them. I didn't.
Yeah, I wanted like the first one. I know I saw the second one, but when I say saw, that's saying it loosely because it was so dark at points. I was like, is anything happening?
Yeah. Oh, Abomination. I did not call you fat. I said you were big boned.
Anyway, okay, so I guess we're moving on to our third.
Yeah. My turn again. I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you do 3 and 2, and I do 2 and 1.
Yeah.
And then you do 1. I think. Well, anyway, I have Silence of the Lambs as number 3.
I have it as number 2.
Well, basically a perfect thriller.
Mm-hmm.
In every way, the acting is off the charts. You know, Hannibal Lecter is beyond perfectly portrayed by Anthony Hopkins, who actually, what he did was he wanted him to just, he didn't do anything over the top with him. He wanted him to look normal because that would be scarier.
Yeah.
Just looks like a normal, well-spoken, soft-spoken guy. And it worked. Jodie Foster said he scared the shit out of her.
Yeah. Don't stand too close to the glass, Clarice.
Yeah, she was afraid of him. She didn't want to talk to him when they had lunch and stuff.
Yeah.
But you know, a strong female lead right there. She makes a mistake at the beginning of the movie, and lo and behold, at the end of it, she's learned from that particular mistake.
Yep.
Right? Yeah, this is probably a 10 out of 10. This movie. It has no flaws, does it?
Oh,
even the villain's great.
If anything, there's like very little, and that would probably be like nitpicks in terms of like editing and things like that. But otherwise, it's like near a perfect movie.
Yeah, and the villain that she's trying to track down is maybe more relevant today
Yep, Buffalo Bill.
Yeah. But like I said, a 10 out of 10. I'll let you have a go at it too, since you have it as number two. So I'll split the movie with you.
Okay. Well, my number 3 is Terminator 2: Judgment Day.
No, I meant
No, I'm saying it's like, but do you have that on your top 3? Because if we were, I'll split it with you.
Oh, do I ever? Guess
Yeah.
where it's placed?
1.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I was gonna say, like, it's like that's my number 3, so I'll just say just a little bit, and you can like cover it when you get to your number 1.
Yeah. It's I'm sure we've talked about Terminator 2 plenty of times on this channel and other channels.
Yeah, I feel like what I'll say to it is that it's like I was telling my sister this. While I prefer the simplicity of like the first movie, when I wouldn't say simplicity, I mean like the cat and mouse chase and everything. Like the Terminator is actually evil in the first movie. Story wise, the second one is better.
Yeah, I wouldn't even call him evil.
Well, I'm saying like he's the bad guy. I'm saying evil, like he's the bad guy because he's hunting down. He's programmed to hunt down Sarah Connor.
He's doing exactly what an AI would do.
Yeah. So when I say evil, I mean he doesn't just kill her; he kills like other people. So it's like he's to get to her.
Yeah.
But he's like story wise, the second movie is better because it has a more cohesive story to it.
Oh yeah.
So.
Well, it actually is a better movie overall. I just like I like one more.
Mm-hmm.
As simple as that.
So yeah, that's what I'm pretty much going to say. Like I'll leave it up to Stieg.
Terminator 2. In some ways, is a little bit of a remake.
Mm-hmm.
Because it does reboot some stuff, and an oversight near the end actually leaves it open for a sequel.
Which they do with the third movie. I mean, it's
well, no, it's remember when Arnold loses his arm?
Yeah,
that arm is still there because they don't throw it into the pit.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So, but they do. But like, is like, I know it's like a downgrade. The third movie is. I appreciate the third movie because, like, excluding the oversight of the arm in the second movie, basically she alters the plot, the timeline. When she does that, when everything transpires at the end. And at least the third one is like, no, you just delayed it. You didn't stop it, you just delayed it. And I appreciate that because it leads into what we come to know from the first movie.
It's the only way they could have done it.
I know. I'm saying the third one is not the best. It's a downgrade from the first two.
Yeah.
But I say we needed a third one because it had to show us that no, we just like Trey said, we just averted Judgment Day. We just delayed it. We didn't stop it.
Yeah.
It's going to happen.
Yeah, I think it would always be worse than 2 because of they had too big the shoes they were trying to fill were simply too big.
Yeah.
But 3 is not bad.
No, I'm saying it's just a little bit of a downgrade from the first 2.
Yeah, it is.
But it's still preferable to the later entries.
Yeah. 4 I can kind of tolerate for what it is. But it's the Terminators don't terminate.
Yeah.
They grab John Connor and throw him away and then walk after him and he runs away. It's like from in all of the first 3, if the Terminator spots you, it'll run at you.
Well, the whole point is because that's what it's programmed to do is this literally in the name, terminate. That you are the target, you will be terminated.
Yeah, If it grabs you, it's gonna snap your neck immediately. And they just it they didn't do that. But yeah, Terminator 2, probably a perfect action movie because when I first saw it, I didn't notice time passing. Right,
Yeah.
we're that into the movie.
Mm-hmm.
It just kept going, and you just naturally focused. And I wish I could have seen this again for the first time. You know, in this case, though, I think the cinema version is better than the director's cut
Mm-hmm.
because you have that new ending in the director's cut where when Sarah Connor is sitting there and she's old. You know, instead of the monologue at the end of the cinema version, which is way better because that gives a message, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But perfect movie. Robert Patrick is fantastic in it. Every side character is fantastic. Special effects, a lot of them look brand new today, really. It just simply holds up. It was a whole new level uh, of movie making back then. And because if you watch it for the first time today, you won't understand that this actually changed everything when it came out. The special effects in this one were off the charts back in 91.
Yes.
There was nothing like it. So I think a lot of the young people today that didn't watch it when it came out, that they're missing that bit where the sheer impact it had.
Yeah. Like I said, I think story wise is better
Yeah.
than the first movie. I will give it that.
Yeah, and this is one I keep rewatching every year. It's one and two. I watch them every year.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna go over my number 2 real fast because it is Silence of the Lambs.
Yep.
And I had to put it in my top 3 at least because it was one of the movies that actually kind of inspired me to be a psychology major. Another inspiration was the fact that I, like my mom, I was always into true crime. And this movie was released in 1991. And again, Jodie Foster she's an FBI trainee, right? She's not basically a seasoned veteran or anything. So she makes mistakes, but she learns from her mistakes. She's still smart. She's still intelligent, but she makes mistakes.
Oh, a little bit of trivia for you. I'm not sure if you know this.
Mm-hmm.
Dana Scully in the X-Files, the way she looks is inspired by Jodie Foster in this movie.
I believe it.
Same hairdo too.
Yeah, Bogus Journey did not make my list. So, all right. So basically, and they're trying to find this serial killer named Buffalo Bill, and we find out it's played. The actor's name is I believe his name is it Ted Levine or something like that. But anyway, he was incredibly, creepily brilliant as Buffalo Bill. I mean, Anthony Hopkins stole the show as Hannibal Lecter, but I don't want to take it away from Levine's performance as Buffalo Bill.
No, he was a 10 out of 10 too.
Yeah, he was just phenomenal in in how he portrayed the character, and it's one of those interesting aspects because he also, I don't know if anybody's seen the show Monk, the one with Tony Shalhoub who plays as OCD detective, basically.
Seen a couple of episodes.
Yeah,
I liked it, I really did, but I never got around to watching more of it.
Yeah, well, the actor who plays, yes, he's on Monk. Basically, the actor who plays Buffalo Bill plays Detective Stottlemyre on Monk. And I remember watching Monk and thinking, he sounds really fucking familiar. And I looked up the actor's name and I thought, oh, Buffalo Bill.
You know what it reminds me of? You know when The Dark Knight came out
Hmm.
and Heath Ledger got praised, uh, deservedly so, all over the place.
Hmm.
Aaron Eckhart was pretty much just as good,
Oh yeah.
but he gets ignored in a way
Hmm.
where he should get the same amount of praise, in my opinion, because he was awesome in it.
Yeah. I wish they'd continued with his performance as Two Face in the third movie instead of we got a cucked Bane.
Yeah,
Anyway, but he played, like I said, Attila Devine played Detective Stottlemyre on Monk, but his performance as Buffalo Bill was just like top notch, and like he's killing these women because, well, he wants to be one, but he's psychotic.
he wants their skin.
Yes, he's kind of like, look up the serial killer Ed Gein, kind of like, I'd say loosely inspired by Ed Gein, in a sense, with the obvious differences as to his motivation. Um, and yeah, it puts the lotion on his skin, or else it gets the hose again.
Yeah.
But he's like basically kidnapped. Ends up being the daughter of a very prominent senator. Who's like, basically that's the reason why the FBI is like really brought in on the case, because of like the fact that like this is not just some random woman that he's kidnapped. He's actually kidnapped someone like of like significance. And Clarice Sterling, Jodie Foster, kind of uses Hannibal Lecter, like her interviews with Hannibal Lecter, to help her get in the mind of Buffalo Bill. That's what she's trying to do. Like, she's part of the FBI, and there's like, I'd say the profiling unit is still like, it's kind of still in its fledgling state, but really like trying to get in the mind of the serial killer to figure out who he is, where he is, how he might strike next, who like what his next target would be, and so forth. And to do so, she to get in the mind of like another serial killer, and like what better way to like figure out another serial killer, but by getting in the mind and like talking to another one who's insanely intelligent, and that is Hannibal Lecter.
Did you watch the Clarice Starling TV show?
I think I did, but I don't recall.
I think maybe it got canceled. It was like 5 years ago, maybe.
I don't recall really watch. It didn't like because like it was like only like one season or something like that. And it's just
it was one
didn't last
season.
long at all.
Yeah, I watched a few episodes, and I thought it was very, very good. But then I think it was announced that it was canceled or something, so I stopped watching.
Yeah,
because no point.
But anyway, and there's the hangar scene in the film where Hannibal Lecter is being wheeled on that gurney, and like the iconic image of like where he's like basically on a like not a gurney, but like he's being wheeled into this hangar with a straitjacket on and a face mask, because like he eats people. That scene was shot in one of the hangars on my base. So I've actually kind of been on set, technically. So they shot that scene there as like, well, like, when he makes his escape and things like that. So yeah. But like I said, it's like one of the movies that kind of inspired me, like, in terms of like being a psychology major, because I was into true crime, and then like this movie was just near perfect. And it had that psychological element. So I had to include it in my top 3, and I made it my number 2, Silence of the Lambs.
Also, another case of a truly nice person playing a psycho, because Anthony Hopkins he's a nice guy.
Yeah.
When during COVID he used to make videos. I think it was on Facebook. He was playing the piano for people, and
I've seen those. Yeah, I think like his cat joined him at one point or something like that. I've seen him playing.
Yeah. Trying to get people to get distracted for 5 minutes at least from all the shit, which was fucking way better than what Gal Gadot did for a stupid song.
No, I don't consider Lecter a slasher like Freddy, Michael, or Jason. Like
No.
he's a serial killer, but like he's like a high functioning, very intelligent serial killer.
He actually has more in common with Pinhead.
Yeah, like a very high functioning, like intellect. Whereas like
There's
Michael, Jason, even Freddy's basically kind of like, as much as I love love those characters, especially Michael and Jason, they're like kind of like almost mindless.
Yeah, I mean, even Freddy Krueger is not a bright guy.
No.
He's just. But yeah.
So
Have you seen Manhunter?
I
It's a
don't
Hannibal
I wanna
Lecter movie from the 80s.
actually no.
It's
I don't recall seeing that.
the character is the one Edward Norton plays, who has to work with Lecter.
Okay.
Tim Noonan, I think, plays the psycho killer in it. He doesn't play Hannibal Lecter though. What's his name? Irish actor. He was on Super Cops. He plays Hannibal Lecter. What's
So
his
they're
name?
saying Brian Cox. You mean Super Troopers?
Yes, Super Troopers. He plays Hannibal Lecter in this.
Yeah, 'cause they're saying
He's
Brian
very
Cox.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brian Cox is a good actor. He doesn't kind of says stupid stuff every now and then, but he's a very good actor.
Yeah.
But yeah, Super Troopers. When you said Super Cops, I was like, the Jackie Chan movie?
Yeah.
No,
No.
it's like,
Yeah.
no, Super Troopers.
Yeah. One joke in that one just didn't work for me. It was the leader of Cola.
Oh yeah,
Because that's what we have.
I get that, but I love the scene where he dives over the counter.
Oh hell yes!
Where he
And
dives over the counter.
in the second one, they go to Canada.
Yeah, I've seen.
And-
I
and
I
they-
saw that movie once and thought it was okay.
Yeah, they only have liters of cola there.
Yeah,
So
yeah. The second one was okay. I like, for me, just like just watch the first one. But yeah.
did you see the slasher movie they made?
Oh, the one that's kind of like making fun of the I Know What You Did Last Summer. Yeah.
Yeah. Bill
Or I should say
Paxton's
it's
in it.
more making fun of the sequel because of where it's located. But yeah, I saw it. It was okay.
Well,
Club Dread.
Well-
Yeah. It was.
Bill Paxton was good in it.
I'm saying like those movies, like for me, like they have their moments where like it's funny, but it's like I don't know what it is. It's just they just don't quite hit the same note as Super Troopers.
No, Super Troopers 1 is awesome.
Yeah, it's like almost a near perfect comedy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's my number 2. So we're on our number 1. So before we reveal our number 1s,
No, I've not done number 2.
oh yeah, sorry. So yeah, do that.
Yeah, my number 2 is I couldn't leave it out. My sister's to blame. She got the movie for Christmas on VHS, and for some reason wanted to watch it with me all the time. She rarely watched it alone. It's Beauty and the Beast.
So yeah, I did not include that. Nearly did, but I prefer Lion King and Aladdin just a little bit more.
Yeah, well, I had to have it on because basically my sister made me watch it 50 times.
Mm-hmm.
How that VHS tape survived, I don't know. And for me, it's a Christmas movie
Okay.
because I'm not even kidding. She made me watch it every day that Christmas. So I watched it 7 out of 7 days after she got it. So I'm associating that with my childhood and Christmas. So perfectly voice acted, really well done, great version of the story. Angela Lansbury as Mrs. Potts. was perfect casting. The music's great and a strong female lead, right?
Yep.
Without being preachy whatsoever.
Nope.
And the first Disney movie to have a 3D scene.
Yep. The ballroom scene.
Yeah, that was ground zero for the. So without that ballroom scene, we wouldn't have had a Toy Story or anything. That's what started it. But I'd give this a 10 out of 10. Same for Aladdin and Lion King. You know, Disney could do no wrong.
Late 80s, early 90s, early to mid 90s was like peak Disney
Yeah.
animated films.
Yeah, you picked up the newest animated Disney movie, and it was going to be amazing. You just knew it, and you were right. And Disney needs to get back to that.
I know
Just-
Bluth Animation Studios is I've seen like they're going to go back to 2D animation, or at least they're going to like start putting out I don't want to say full length films, but like short films, like 2D animation, going back to that.
I hope it. I hope people support that,
Mm-hmm.
and that it becomes a thing, and they realize, hey, maybe we should do another 2D animated movie, right? And
Yeah.
hopefully not be preachy about it. If they do that, I think they can have I think there's a gold mine there.
Yeah, so I think like Bluth, I trust not to be preachy because like that's Bluth Animation Studios, like the ones that did the American Tail films and All Dogs Go to Heaven. So I trust I'm not I'm saying let's put it this way. Right now, I trust them to just do just good, decent 2D animated films.
Yeah,
Like I said, I
the
don't think they're
thing
gonna be like
is,
full length right now, but that's the
the,
plan.
the problem might be the people above them.
Yeah. So it's like that's the plan right now.
But yeah, fingers crossed for that because 2D animation, 3D is fine. I mean, hell, it looks gorgeous on Blu-ray, right? Because it is digital, and everything's 3D models, so it just looks good. But it doesn't have the heart, I think, of the old 2D stuff. I mean, hell, even the stuff from the 40s, the old Donald Duck cartoon, it's fantastic, and yeah, it needs to come back, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But anyway, Beauty and the Beast, 10 out of 10 for what it is. Like I said, Disney could do no wrong, and they didn't do anything wrong with this.
Nope. Yeah. So, like I said, chats. To kind of start wrapping it up, so we can discuss our number one. We go down the list of our 10 through 2 before we discuss our number one. Mine list is Warlock, Hook, An American Tail, 5 Goes West, City Slickers, Hot Shots, The Addams Family, The People Under the Stairs, Terminator 2, Judgment Day, and Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah, I had Stone Cold, Flight of the Intruder, Double Impact, Wedlock, Doc Hollywood, The Doors, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, Silence of the Lambs, and Beauty and the Beast.
Mm-hmm.
We had a way more family-friendly list today, combined, I think.
Yeah. They're like quite like good, like bit of good, like family-friendly movies that came out. But we're on our number one.
Yeah, I have Terminator 1, so we've already talked about it.
I mean, Terminator 2.
Yeah, Terminator 2, sorry.
So I have to look up like a character in this movie, but my number one, if you can't tell from the thumbnail, it's a movie I haven't talked about yet, is The Rocketeer. Absolutely love it. It's like a love letter to the serials from back in like the 30s and 40s, like the ones where it's like we actually had to go to the movie theater and you see basically like Flash Gordon, like Buster Crabbe's Flash Gordon or Captain Midnight and things like that. It's very much an homage to those types of serials, as well as like a noir element to it with Timothy Dalton's character.
It's
Who-
pulp, kind of.
Yeah. So it's basically, like I said, it's a love letter to the 30s and 40s, basically. Because with the references to like actual, like basically real life personas like Howard Hughes and things like that, basically. So like elements of like what's like real life with like basically within a film that's a love letter to the serials and films from those decades. Bill Campbell basically plays the character. What's his name? Clifford Secord. He's a pilot. He's just a pilot in like basically like fair shows and things like that. He's not necessarily aimless, but he's not really using his talents like as he should. Essentially, like it's. And like he's dating Jenny Blake, who loves him. She really does truly love him, but she also wants to be an actress. And in her wanting to be an actress, she kind of has like these I don't want to say feelings of grandeur, but she wants like to go to like what's that club's name? That Timothy Dalton takes her to. Basically, it's kind of like an allusion to an actual club that was from the 30s and 40s, basically, but like the opulent life, basically.
It actually reminds me of Peter Parker and Mary Jane in the Raimi Spider-Man movies.
A little bit, but not Studio 50, not those studios. Basically, it was like an act, like not a club like those. When I say club, I mean like there was an actual like restaurant. These restaurants, these establishments had club in the title, like store club, things like that. Not those studios, not those. But it leaves an allusion to an actual basically like those actual type of establishments, and she's like wanting to kind of like experience that opulent lifestyle because she really wants to be an actress, and she's like Cliff's, like she's on the poor side. She she loves him. She doesn't care that he's poor, but at the same time, she's kind of like wanting the life that he can't give her in a sense. And like the South Seas Club, thank you. That's what it's called, the South Seas Club. And Timothy Dalton plays he's an actor on the film that she's been cast as like a small role in, and he kind of like introduces her to that life in a sense.
Holy shit, that fake movie they're making where he plays like an Errol Flynn character.
Yeah.
The guy's slick as hell.
Yeah.
Seriously. It's like a slimer.
But I don't want to say too much about Timothy Dalton's character because like he is the villain, but there is like a little twist to his character. When I say twist, I mean like you can kind of see it coming, but at the same time, it's like I don't want to reveal too much about his character.
He managed to do this movie because there was legal battle going on with the people who owned the Bond franchise at the studio, because there was no Bond movie from 88 to 89 to 95. It was the whole thing was in a limbo, which is why he quit. He felt it was too old. But GoldenEye was written for him.
Because there's a character in this movie that's actually based on a real life actor in terms of his looks. And it's the character Lothar. But I can't remember what the actor's name is that they're basing him off of. Because like you see this movie and you see Lothar's face, you cannot forget it. Let me see if I can find.
I need to find this one on Blu-ray, actually. This one, Flash Gordon and The Phantom. I need them on Blu-ray because so rewatchable. Yeah. I bet you the bonus material is worth it alone.
I can't remember. When I got to look up a Basil Rathbone Sherlock Holmes film. Because there was a real life actor that Lothar's look was inspired from. And I can't remember which friggin' actor it is, and I had to find the Sherlock Holmes movie. The Pearl of Death? Yes. Movie Pearl of Death. And one of the actors in it, it's like you don't... Rondo Hatton. Look up Rondo Hatton and look up Lothar, basically. Like, Lothar, his look is inspired by the actor Rondo Hatton. Rondo Hatton. Hatton. I'm like... Because I remember, like, watching this movie and my dad telling me that. Like, oh, there was, like, an actual actor, like, you know, from, like, the 30s, 40s that really looked like that. I'm like, really? Like, yes. And, like, he's in one of the Basil Rathbone Sherlock Holmes called The Pearl of Death. So, it's a little bit of trivia for you folks. Like, you know, the inspiration for Lothar. That's actually how someone looks in real life. Hey, Kay Roberts. He did match Dick Tracy villains, but look up Rondo Hatton. I'll type it in the chat.
Dick Tracy, that's another one I need to see. I'm not sure if I've seen it.
I think I'm spelling it right. No, Hatton. Sorry. Freaking hell. I can't spell today. Yeah, so look up him and you'll see like that's Lothar. Or Lothar is like, you know, inspired by him.
You know who would make a good Dick Tracy? Bruce Campbell.
Yeah, you kind of would.
Yeah.
Younger Bruce Campbell would have been a good Dick Tracy. But there it is. That's my number one, The Rocketeer, basically. So it's like, I don't want to say too much because it'll give away too much of the plot, basically. But it's, if you've seen like the Flash Gordon serials, the Captain Midnights, like all those from like the 30s and 40s, and the swashbuckling type of films and things, like it's a love letter to that time period in Hollywood. So there's Alan Alda, Bill Campbell plays Cliff Secord, Jennifer Connelly plays Jenny Blake, and you have Timothy Dalton, obviously, in the film, Terry O'Quinn, and a bunch of other actors that you would recognize from other roles, but they appear in this film. So there it is. That is it. That's my number one, The Rocketeer, from 1991. He kind of does, and so he actually looked like that. So that wasn't makeup. He actually looked like that. So basically, they took like that actor, and they used him as inspiration for how Lothar looked in The Rocketeer. But there it is. That's my number one.
Yeah, my number one was Terminator 2. So.
Yeah.
You know, The Rocketeer and, you know, Dick Tracy and all that stuff, it's been left behind by Hollywood, I think. There's like potential to do all kinds of stuff there.
So, yeah. So, yeah, that is our top 10 films from 1991. So next time would be 1992. And that will be the 8th. I want to say October 8th because there's 5 Wednesdays. Yeah, pretty much. Kay Roberts, I'll give you that. It's when Jennifer Connelly grew up for a lot of people, from the Labyrinth to The Rocketeer. But I believe it'll be October 8th, and there's 5 Wednesdays in October. So the first Wednesdays would be the Worldwide Weird News, and then the top 10, and then the following 2 Wednesdays and Thursdays would be the ones and twos and the singles. I'm thinking of doing the first 2 Conjuring films for the ones and twos, just to give it like a little bit of a different, like, you know, change of pace from like slasher type of horror film. I'm leaning towards those 2 movies. We'll see. For how, obviously, because we're Halloween, and then have that last week, that extra Wednesday and stuff. That I might do definitely going to try to do a Halloween stream. But yeah, so yeah. Thank you, chat. Stieg, let everybody know where they can find you and all that fun stuff.
Here, on the 8th.
Well, the 1st and the 8th. Yep.
Yeah.
Or either Conjuring 1 and 2, or even maybe Insidious 1 and 2. Yeah, sometime. But like, I'm trying, like, just as like a change of pace. Since we, like, from like, basically, like, slasher, because it's easy to do like slasher franchises because they have like multiple entries, so you could easily do a 1 and 2. But I'm gonna do like more supernatural, like more of a deviation. So it's like either gonna be Conjuring 1 and 2 or Insidious 1 and 2. So I might put it to a poll once we get to October, what people would prefer for the 1s and 2s for October.
Have you done Jeepers Creepers?
Not in discussion, no. Not the 1 and 2. No, we did a watch party of them, but not for discussion. So that the first Jeepers Creepers movie like freaked me out.
It's awesome. Second one is not that good, but it's well,
it's compared to the sequels that follow it, it's a bearable sequel, and it takes place like right around the same time as the first one takes place. So there's not too much of a time. There's like not really a time jump.
Have you seen one called Joyride?
Yes. That you're talking about the one with Paul Walker and Steve Zahn and
yeah,
I've seen that. Yeah, that one.
Not bad.
The aftermath of what happens to that one guy at the beginning. Like, oh. Anyway, because they trick this one truck driver, and truck driver they trick ends up being a psychopath.
Yeah, Candy Cane.
Yes, Candy Cane.
A friend of mine used to call me on the phone when I picked up. And it was like, Candy Cane.
Yep. So
he was a bit demented.
Yeah, La Llorona, or however you pronounce this. So I'm like tired right now, but it had potential, which is what disappointed me like so much. It had potential. But it just fell short, and I could see the potential in the movie.
Mossa has a good point in the chat.
Yeah,
I feel the same way. It's just so bloated now.
Yeah, like there really shouldn't have been any movies past the second Conjuring.
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, there's a rubber ducky in the background. Let's give that one a trilogy too.
Yeah, they're doing too much right now.
Yeah.
But like I think they're on the 5th one now. They're filming the 5th one. Because there's 4. I know there's 3 Annabelle movies. There's 2 Nun films. Those were like a major fucking disappointment.
It's because they've done too much.
Well, it's like they've done too much, but also because they take like what should have been like an incredibly creepy villain. Like actual evil entity with the nun. And I'm like, how do you fall short of that? And they managed to do it.
Yeah,
the first Annabelle sucked. The second one, while we did not need an origin story necessarily, was actually done better than the first Annabelle film. Annabelle Come Home was okay, because that kind of takes place kind of like modern time within the Warrens' residence. Anyway,
did you like Megan?
Yes, I enjoyed Megan. I liked Megan. That movie does not need a sequel. I know they set it up for a sequel, and they're going to do a sequel, but it does not need a sequel.
I thought they came close to the old Chucky movies with the first one.
Oh yeah, it definitely felt like it was like basically a callback and like in the first like Chucky movies or Child's Play films.
The director's cut is a must. Because she does more fucked up stuff in it.
Yeah. But Yeah, the found footage films like got way overdone. Like the first one, Paranormal Activity, was decent. Like wasn't great. Like the husband, like the husband was actually a fucking moron. Um, but like decent found footage film, and then had to have like a bunch of sequels, unnecessary sequels that
Yeah,
made no
it's
sense.
like it's like the first hour you're just sitting there staring and go, "Oh, did that coffee cup move?" That's like the first
Yeah,
hour of all of
yeah,
the sequels.
pretty much. Yeah. So, but there it is. Anyway, chats. Yeah. So next week, the following 2 Wednesdays will be the ones and twos, and that's X Men and X2 X Men United, and the singles are the Wolverine and Logan. And then we'll go into then towards the end of the month I'll basically confirm and like solidify what the ones and twos and the singles will be for October. So Orange Eye comes up with the singles. He and I will talk about it and kind of bounce off each other to see if we want to keep like a theme with what I'm going for with the ones and twos, or if he wants to kind of pick his own singles for October with the scary movie thing, or like what he wants to do. But anyway, chat. So on that note, it's now 11 p.m. for me. I gotta get some sleep. So take care, everyone. Have a good rest of your day or evening wherever you are in the world, and we will see you all later. Take care and peace.
My
You're still here? It's over. Go home.